Hi, welcome back to Now Your Mother's Hobbies. Today we're taking a look at the last ally in Metal Gear Solid the board game, Meryl Silverburgh. Another highly detailed and awesome sculpt by Simon with a really unique pose. We're lucky on this one in that we get to recycle and reuse a lot of what we learned in the series so far, a lot of the colors and techniques that we've done before. So this was going to be pretty simple to go through, and we can focus on the stuff that stands out on this one. So let's get to it. First things first, we're going to do that tactical gear. So we're taking Black Templar here, or whatever other kind of black paint you got, and we're going to line in all of that tactical gear. So the holsters, the belts, the straps. She's got gloves that go up to her elbows, but hey, don't do those fingers. These are fingerless gloves. She's got tactical gloves, as well as her weapons and the tank top that she's got, and combat boots. You can also do some of the decoration on the base. She's got some chaff grenades, I believe, but I chose to do those a different way, and you'll see them later on. With that out of the way, we're going to use some bold titanium white and just dry brush that over all of those tactical details. Just popping up the edges and making it so that you can see a lot of the pouches and pockets and all that stuff that's going on really easily. I am avoiding the tank top, and we don't need to do the weapons, as we're going to do that with a different look. Her pants, or her combat fatigues, we're going to use Militarum Green, just like we've done for those Genome soldiers, because she's a new recruit for those very same soldiers and didn't know what they were getting into. So we're going to match that same color and go all around and get her pants colored in. She has these knee pads. We're going to use Basilicanum Gray to do those up, make them a little different than the tactical strappings and armor that she has alongside it. And we're also going to use this gray for her basing. Get all that rubble and stuff like that all colored in. Now she is a redhead, and we're going to use Blood Angel's Red to give a very saturated red look. Sometimes I do an orange, and you're very welcome to do that if you want a more natural look, but I want that kind of cartoon saturated look. I want to match it best I can. So Space Wolf's Gray for those chaff grenades on the ground, just to give it a little pop of color on the base. And lastly, we're going to do Guilliman Flesh for our flesh blocking. That includes the fingers on the fingerless gloves and all of her exposed skin and her face. As always, take breaks, don't be afraid to make mistakes, and clean up where you need to with a lighter color or a white or off-white. Places like the fingers or the chest area, or even on the pants where the straps go, are examples of where you might have troubles. Tackling those guns, we're going to use a gunmetal and just do a very rough dry brush. If you have a smaller dry brush, go ahead and use that instead, and just line over and get some shining detail on there. Pick up the edges. Then we're going in with Dark Reaper on the tank top, and that'll give it a different kind of look than the tactical gear, make it more off blue but still be black. And keep in mind, you don't need to go crazy and edge light everything if you don't want to, sticking to the wrinkles and topmost areas that would get hit by the most light. This also stands for the pant color here, Auric Flesh, I'm using to do the highlights on the pants and just soften out any sort of smudging or tide marks or anything like that with that Militarum Green. Then we're going to use Nuln Oil Gloss. This paint does not exist. If you got it, you're lucky. One coat to go. Otherwise, use a dark tone wash and a gloss over. That'll help blend any areas that you might not have gone painting all the way, as well as make it a uniform sort of manufactured metal look. Then we have our first layer of flesh. This is Cadian Flesh Tone that I'm using, and it's going to smooth out any uneven areas and kind of give us our nice groundwork for our flesh color. Then building up on top of that, we're using Kislev Flesh and just reducing the area ever so much. So with that Cadian Flesh Tone, we're not hitting all the shadows, but just smoothing things out, and then Kislev Flesh, we're following up, brightening things and getting those first highlights in. You can see we're also getting those fingers, and of course the facial details, the nose, the cheekbones, that little bit of forehead too. Then to brighten up the hair, I'm using Evil Sun Scarlet and just going around brightening things up a little bit where I think it might be a little too dark. That's going to be the topmost areas and anything I think is too dark. And little loose strands like the one on her cheek. Alright, for our last highlight, we're using Pallid Witch Flesh like usual. This is going to be our final skin highlight, and we're just putting that on the topmost edges of the skin where we would have the most highlight. That's going to make the features really pop, especially in the face and the fingers, so they don't get lost. Then I have Fenrisian Gray here, and I'm just going around and adding some highlights where I think we need to see the details, or I think that a lot of light will hit, using little scratchy lines to give it some texture as well. Then I have Gray Seer here to sort of build up that knee pad and brighten it up. This is going to help it stand out as well as build up that color it's supposed to be. Then we're following all that up with Bold Titanium White. We're using this to do our L'Oreal highlights. I like those shampoo highlights. You can do them if you like them. You don't have to, but I do. I think it stands out on the hair and makes it really lots of detail you can see, makes it really interesting to look at. So I'm going around and picking out some of the areas I think would get hit. Not everything. And of course the crown on top is where you're most likely going to see those. I'm also using this on the knee pads here to really brighten those up. And I'm not covering the whole knee pad, but just like a third or half of it. Carroburg Crimson, I'm adding this to the lips just to make those features pop. Just a little bit of makeup. I like to do that. You don't have to. And then following the base up with a dry brush and a black rim to really seal the deal, make it clean. And with all that finished, we have our final Meryl Silverburgh. Really liking how this one turned out, especially the details in the clothing and as well as her arms. I feel like she has an equal kind of feminine and strong look. They did really good on this miniature, and I think the painting job also kind of did it justice as well. I also enjoy how the hair came out, even using just little dots on the back for those highlights. I know not everybody is a fan of those shining white highlights, but I really enjoy putting those in. I think it brings a lot of character to the minis and adds a lot to the details, makes it very visible. One thing to note too, I did add another little Space Wolves gray coat onto those chaff grenades to make them a little more blue after. And as I mentioned, she starts off as one of the genome soldiers, or at least on their side, and so here's her green fatigues to match. The board game comes with this extra miniature that you use for your first meetings with Meryl before she reveals herself. So you can use the same colors and techniques from those videos to match your Meryl as well. We've just got one more miniature to go, and it is a bigature, as it is Metal Gear Rex. Look forward to that next time. And as always, thank you to everybody who watches, likes, subscribes. Thank you to the wonderful patrons for your support. And let me know in the comments down below, over on Patreon or in the Discord, if you've been following along or are excited to finally finish this series and see that big bad boy Rex painted up. And until then, bye-bye!